back down from a challenge. And with 38 knockouts, the Hitman became one of boxing's most exciting fighters.
Tommy Hearns is the ultimate warrior. There never will ever be, there never has been a dull Tommy Hearns fight. Kill or be killed. Tommy is out there with his heart beating a mile a minute. What a great, great fighter.
An accomplished boxer as well as a powerful puncher, Hearns earned the distinction as the first man in boxing history to win world titles in 4 separate weight divisions. At the Dana Point Resort, Thomas Hearns met with Greatest Sports Legends host Reggie Jackson to reflect on his remarkable career, which first began on the mean streets of East Detroit.
Thomas Hearns, Detroit, Michigan. A tough boxer in a tough city. What got you into boxing, and what was it like growing up?
What interested me in boxing was just being able to, I guess, to defend myself, because as a child, I was always the smallest little kid on the block. I was the tallest, but I was definitely the skinniest person on the block. And I just wanted to be in a position where if something was to occur, that I was able to protect myself, that's all.
Emmanuel Stewart, when did he come into your life? When did he see that you could be something in boxing, a good amateur, a golden gloves, a professional?
Well, Emmanuel Stewart came into my life in 1974. I was still amateur. Matter of fact, I was just really going into the, what they call the AAU, National AAU.
You were just 14, 15 years old?
Yes. And when Emmanuel came into my life, he started showing me the proper way to punch, the proper way of getting the most out of boxing. And that's when I became the fighter that I am today.
Under the tutelage of Emmanuel Stewart, Hearns blossomed into a complete fighter who could box and punch with equal effectiveness. After his sterling amateur career, Thomas turned professional in 1977. And as a welterweight, he proceeded to knock out his first 17 opponents. Then on August 2nd, 1980, Hearns earned his first shot at a world title when he took on Pepino Cuevas, the WBA welterweight champion.
That was a change in my life. It was very difficult for me at first because being right out of the amateur and only having a few fights and stepping up to the big leagues, which we would say the major leagues, it was kind of tough, but I was eager to go in there and to do my best and show the world that I deserved the chance to fight for the title.
Going into this fight, Pepino Cuevas had successfully defended his title 11 times. But in the second round, Cuevas' reign came to an end.
Cuevas is having trouble getting past that long left of Tommy Hearns. Oh, a big right hand by Hearns, and another one, and Cuevas is down.
With this stunning knockout, Thomas Hearns was crowned the new WBA welterweight champion. Hearns then proceeded to defend his title, and in his first 3 title defenses, he won all by knockouts. Boxing fans now eagerly awaited the showdown between Thomas Hearns, the WBA champion, and Sugar Ray Leonard, the WBC welterweight champ.
After you got the championship belt, it seems as though you set your mind on fighting Sugar Ray Leonard. Is that right?
Yes. You know, those years growing up was something that I wanted to do over some years ago, because always as an amateur, Ray was there and I was there, and we always seemed to miss each other in the tournament. Either Ray fight just before I do, or I fight before he does, and something always happened where we never meet up when we like in the National Golden Gloves or National AA. We never had the chance to meet up, but my dream was to get in there and to box Ray Leonard, to prove to Ray Leonard that I was a much better boxer than he was.
On September 16, 1981, Thomas Hearns would get his wish and fight Sugar Ray Leonard for the world welterweight title. it would be remembered as one of the classic showdowns of the decade.
Yeah, I don't think that's so. I think that in the boxing game, I feel that we're on the same level. We are just two individuals that's competing against each other. Mm-hmm. And I feel that there's room for everyone that wants to get into this game and wants to make it to the top. Mm-hmm. There's room for you.
Before this fight, Sugar Ray Leonard said he would destroy Thomas Hearns both physically and mentally. Yet in the early rounds, it was Hearns who inflicted most of the damage. However, by the 14th round, Leonard had taken control. Even though Hearns was leading on all three of the judges' scorecards, referee Davy Pearl felt compelled to stop the fight. Leonard was awarded the victory, and Thomas Hearns suffered his first professional loss in 33 fights.
Here was a fight, Thomas, that you had looked forward toward for almost 2 years of your life. What effect do you feel that this loss had on you?
I was very, very disappointed. It's something that bothered me for a long time, 8 years to be exact. Feeling bad for myself and feeling like I had let everyone down, including myself. It was something that made it very difficult to live with myself because of the fact that I let that happen. And I was just determined to get back in the ring with Ray Leonard and to do it over, but come up with a different outcome this time.
Tommy Hearns was unable to get a rematch with Sugar Ray, so he decided to pursue world titles in other weight divisions. On December 3rd, 1982, he fought Wilfred Benitez for the WBC Super Welterweight title. In the 8th round, Hearns injured his right hand and was forced to use his jab the rest of the way. After 15 rounds, the judges handed in their decision.
In favor of the winner by majority vote, the new Super Welterweight champion, Tommy Hitman Hearns.
18 months later, Thomas Hearns would take on Roberto Duran, the legendary Hands of Stone, in a Super Welterweight unification bout.
Before that fight, you made a bold prediction that you'd knock him out in the 2nd round. Duran's a guy who had never been knocked out. Why the 2nd round, and why do fighters feel as though they need to predict they're going to knock someone out in a certain round?
Well, that was definitely bold in my behalf to predict something like that, Reggie. But I felt that it was necessary. I felt that Roberto's style, his style of boxing was made for me. He was tailor-made for me. That I would be able to go out to dress him up and to get him out of there.
Going into this fight, some boxing experts began to question the knockout power of Tommy Hearns. In his last 3 fights, his opponents had gone the distance. In the 2nd round against Roberto Duran, Hearns showed everyone that his right hand was still a lethal weapon.
Hearns trying to tie him up. Duran backs up. A big right hand by Hearns, and down goes Roberto Duran. A huge right hand by Tommy Hearns, and it's all over.
Tommy Hearns' devastating knockout of Roberto Duran convinced him that he was now ready to move up to the next weight class. Less than 1 year later, Hearns would take on the world middleweight champion, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, in an attempt to win his 3rd world title.
Middleweight, in search of your 3rd world title. Your first fight in that division, I mean, you didn't pick a lamb. Why didn't you pick somebody easy? You picked the champion, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. What were your thoughts going into that fight? I mean, why didn't you pick somebody easy?
Because throughout my whole entire career, I never fought easy fights. I mean, you know, I go out and just take an easy fight because it's there. I believe in taking on the top contenders in the weight division and showing my ability, showing that I had a great ability to be in there with any fighter, any man. And that's why we picked Marvin Hagler.
The match between Thomas Hearns and Marvelous Marvin Hagler was billed simply as the fight. But it turned out to be a toe-to-toe war from the opening bell. The champion Hagler was usually a slow starter, but in this fight, he came out aggressively and tried to match the Hitman blow for blow. In the third round, the referee momentarily stopped the fight when Hagler began bleeding heavily from a cut on his forehead. When he was allowed to continue, Hagler became desperate to end the fight.
Hagler trying to throw those big bombs. Hearns trying to stay away and keep Hagler off him using that jab. Hearns continues to back up. A right hand staggers Tommy Hearns. Hagler chases him. Hagler trying to finish him off, lands another right hand, and Tommy Hearns crumbles to the canvas. Richard Steele
with this knockout, Thomas Hearns suffered only his second loss in 42 fights. But as was the case with every Hearns fight, it was one to remember. Hagler's strategy of coming out strong from the opening bell came as a surprise to almost everyone.
Hagler, I think, felt a little threatening of me. He knows that what kind of ability I have, the ability of getting in there and taking my opponent out at any given time. And I guess Hagler wanted to go in there and establish himself and not come in with a slow start. So he had to go, and he kind of like had to pick up the pace. And he did well. He picked it up the pace and he hung in there.
Hearns recovered from his knockout loss and continued his search for another championship belt. On March 7th, 1987, Hearns took on the WBC light heavyweight champion, Dennis Andres. The Hitman's devastating right hand proved to be too powerful for Andres as he knocked down the defending champion 6 times. After winning world titles as a welterweight and super welterweight, Hearns now added the light heavyweight title to his collection in just his first appearance in the 175-pound weight division.
Tommy, you knocked Andreas out in the 10th round. This gave you a 3rd world title. No one had ever won 4. How important was it for you to win that 4th title?
Well, during the impossible dream that people told me that it's impossible to do. No man had ever done that. And when they told me that, I was maybe more eager to get out there and fight for the title, try to be the first man in the history of boxing to win 4 world titles in 4 different weight divisions. And people just kept trying to pound it in my head and said, you can't do that, man. It's never been done before. The greatest fighters have tried that, and they have not been successful. I said, well, these are the 80s, and I'm here in the 80s. It's Thomas Hearns in the 80s, and I'm going to show you that dreams do come true.
In his very next fight, Hearns took on middleweight champion Juan Roldan in an attempt to win his 4th world title. Roldan was a powerful brawler from Argentina with 41 knockouts under his belt. After suffering a barrage of heavy hits, Tommy battled back in the 4th round, displaying the heart of a great champion.
Both fighters look a little tired here as Mills Lane, the referee, steps between them. Good left hook to the body by Thomas Hearns. Roldan missing with the overhand right. A good right hand by Hearns. Roldan is hurt and down he goes. Juan Roldan hit with a solid right hand by Thomas Hearns goes down.
6.
The count is 6. Roldan will not get up. Thomas Hearns has made boxing history.
For the WBO Super Middleweight Championship. Hearns managed to outfight Kinchin to win a 12-round decision and his 5th world title. Even more important, this victory for Hearns set up a rematch with his longtime nemesis, Sugar Ray Leonard, who had come out of retirement 2 years earlier. It had been 8 years since these 2 great champions first fought, and for Tommy Hearns, those 8 years had failed to erase the painful memory of his bitter defeat. On June 12, 1989, Hearns got a chance to avenge that loss when he challenged Leonard for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. In round 11 of this scheduled 12-round fight, Hearns knocked Sugar Ray down to the canvas for the second time that night. The fight was a seesaw battle that went the distance, and when the judges handed in their decision, they ruled it a draw. Even though Hearns was not declared the winner, his courageous performance helped vindicate the ghost of Sugar Ray Leonard.
I felt that in that fight, I fought a very good fight. I think that there was no question in no one's mind at the fight who won the fight, who was victorious in that fight. When Ray Leonard got the decision, he had to hold his head down because he know he did not win that fight.
Will you fight him again?
I would love to fight him again, any place. We can fight him in this backyard right here.
Thomas, if you can, describe your boxing style.
It would be hard for me, a very difficult thing for me to do. I think it would probably take my manager, Manny Stood, to describe my boxing style to you.
You call yourself a guy that can adjust or adapt to different kinds of fighters?
Adapt to whatever it takes to get there, to get me there. I can adapt to.
You can be a slugger. You can be a boxer.
I can be either one.
5 titles. Is that right?
5 titles.
That makes you a great boxer.
Might be 6.
Might be 6.
Maybe.
What are you telling me?
I'm telling you to just keep your eye on Thomas Hearns and watch one man. Right now, he's very hard to beat, but watch him. But also keep your eye on Thomas Hearns. Thomas Hearns may be there one day. I hang out with you. I do the right thing. Maybe I might get big as you. Who knows?
Tommy, I think that myself, as well as anyone who's a boxing fan, knows that if it's Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Tommy Hearns, Jake LaMotta, all deserve to be mentioned in the same paragraph as some of the greatest boxers, greatest fighters that ever lived. I'd like to thank you for coming down and visiting with us here at Dana Point and sharing your career with us on Greatest Sports Legends. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Reggie.
Appreciate it, Hitman.
I appreciate you.
All right.